Hey, good afternoon. Tom Stewart here. I am with Buffy Trotter, and our guest today is Olu Auguste, and this is Smart Business Moves.
How did you get Olu, but I got Buffy? What?
Oh man, he's just flipping them.
Yeah.
Oh, darn.
Now more
I
people
like
know the
Buffy.
story.
I think Buffy's awesome.
It's funny to me now, but back in the day, it was not good. Hello,
Yeah.
Miss Denise. I love does your pickle have a Christmas hat on him?
Oh, I
No,
saw
no.
It looks like a sombrero, maybe.
Yeah, a little sombrero.
Yeah,
It
definitely
looks
sombrero.
Christmassy on the little tiny tag.
So, just the pickle thing. So, if somebody like doesn't do everything they're supposed to do, they're pickled.
They get pickled. Yeah.
So,
My goal is to never get pickled.
I see people spending more time on their pickles than what the time would take them to do what they're supposed to do.
Right, Tom? Right? That's my point. And the point is, listen, you're in a bit of a pickle. You're wasting time doing things that you shouldn't be doing instead of doing the things that you should be doing.
Okay,
So,
even Denise knows it.
yeah.
But I do enjoy seeing all the pickles, though.
They got some cute pickles out there, don't they?
Caleb photoshopped a banana split with a pickle, and I thought it was a real pickles ice cream. I'm like, that's disgusting.
That's terrible. Who made that?
It struck me though, if they spent half the time actually running their business as opposed to what they're putting into pickles, they'd be in better shape. But anyway.
Huh? Oh, look it up here. You see Linda? She's in the circle.
Hey, Linda.
Don't see a pickle on there.
Nice.
Good job, Linda. No pickle, no pickle.
Okay.
Hey.
Is there anything going out in the world? Any news? Anything happening that we need to talk about?
Sure
Things that pertain to us. I heard there's another strain of you know what, a variant or something like that. So
bad or good, or like, what did you hear about it?
You know, I tried to not pay attention to this anymore, but it affected my stocks because China now has new regulations which made certain things go down. So I know they changed their regulations again, you know, to some COVID regulations. But that's all I know. I seen it. I'm like, you know what? It's out of my control. And just left it alone.
Not gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
All right.
China's in pretty bad shape. They've been shutting down cities like Shanghai. Who's our buddy in Shanghai? I'm drawing a blank.
Chris.
No, it's not Chris.
Not Chris Schwab.
No,
no, Perry Tate.
Perry Tate. Yes. Do you know Perry Tate? Olu?
I'm not familiar.
He's an incredible guy. Yeah, he's originally from Australia. He makes water-fed poles and other equipment for the window washing world.
Oh, nice.
And I'm got to know him a long time ago. And he used to be a guest on Smart Business Moves, and he kind of gives the inside skinny as to what was going on in China and how everybody had like an app on their phone that was either red or green. And if it was green, you could go do whatever. And if it was red, that means you had some type of exposure through contact tracing and you had to be locked up.
It was crazy. It was really interesting. Really.
Every once in a while, one of your neighbors would kind of get a little bit out of line and they would just disappear for a few weeks.
Come on, now you're full of it.
No.
Swear.
No? Well, I mean, look what happened to...
Like for a period of time, they would just be gone.
Well, the CEO of Alibaba, he went to a re-education camp. You know, he went missing for a little bit for speaking out against the government. Yeah, so...
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
We don't recognize how well we have it sometimes.
Oh yeah, we got it good. We have our issues, but I would take our issues back over some of the other issues we have.
Do we have anything else going on in the news that I haven't heard about?
Inflation's a thing. I think the consumer price index was 8 point something, and the producer price index came out this morning. It was like 11 point something year over year. I mean, this is getting crazy.
It was Deutsche, one of the German banks just was predicting. This is the same time I seen the thing about China, was predicting 2023 U.S. recession. based on the rates. I mean, even the feds can't even control it. You know, they just like bring it up higher. So we'll see, you know, see what happens. It's the effects of printing money and giving it all out. I mean, it's bound to happen. I mean,
how is it not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I'm not an economist, and I figured that out.
Yeah. And the stuff in China is getting, you know, they're starting to build hospitals again, like the temporary hospitals, like the way they did in Wuhan a couple of years ago. And evidently they didn't do a really good job of vaccinating their people. They've got a lot of senior living facilities where people are like kind of halfway vaccinated. And they're using their vaccine, by the way, which is not mRNA. It's something that supposedly isn't as efficacious. And all of the therapeutics that are now available, they don't have any of that. And so there's some people that are speculating that China's going to get really bad. And what that means to us is all these supply chain issues that we're having and all the stuff that, you know, people, you know, too many dollars chasing too few things, that, you know, the Fed can keep raising interest rates and all that's really good. But, you know, until they get the supply chain thing fixed, that's, you know, that's part of it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, a lot of stuff going around in the world right now.
So as cleaning business owners, now is a really, really good time to be looking at what you're charging, to be thinking about value in your business, and be thinking about how do you make money, because there is a recession on the horizon, but that's not here yet. And there's a lot of people with a lot of money looking to spend it on things to make their life easier, like house cleaning. And that kind of brings us into what we're going to be talking about today, because Olu's going to be sharing, you know, his perspective and thoughts on things he does in his business. And he works with other businesses and does some, it's fair to say you do some training and coaching as well, right, Olu?
So with my marketing customers, anytime they ask me for anything, my books are open to them. You know, I'll share anything that we're doing in our company. So I'm always trying to give them value, because if they have the marketing leads coming in, but the sales is weak on one side, or then I get the people in, you know, it doesn't work.
And at the same time, you're able to get a little bit of insight as to what they're doing. So, you know, you're teaching and you're probably learning a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hopefully we all are, right? Hopefully we're learning as we're teaching and growing at the same time. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm looking forward to hearing, Olu. I know you got really prepared for the Smart Business Moves episode today. So to hear everything that you're going to be sharing.
I know you have a list of questions as well. You know, we can go through that, and later on, if you guys stay on, we're going to be talking about basically three value strategies that you can use based off of organic growth, reducing costs, and acquisitions. So we're going to be talking about those things that I've done in my business and how it's worked.
Well, jump in. What do you want to talk about first?
Oh, you want me to just jump in?
Yeah, tell us.
Do we have any questions, Liz? Or are you going to
you had some questions.
I do. You want me to start with the questions?
Yeah, let's start with your questions. Leave these for the end, and we can just talk on them. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Let's see that. One of the things I wanted to know was just what are your thoughts on providing value to increase profits? Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. So in terms of providing value to the customers, right, to increase profits. Yeah, I think that's very important. You know, in our industry, or at least in the residential cleaning side, the profit margins aren't like, you know, the craziest, right? So if we can maximize the value we give to customers, and especially that perceived value, then we can obviously maximize those profits as well. I remember I shared a story one time. It was this guy, he came in to do my irrigation system. So he quoted me for the front, because everybody in my neighborhood had a nice front lawn. I'm like, well, I can't have this, you know, ripped up dirt anymore. So we're like, let's get this irrigation down. I tried for 3 years by myself, and they're like, you know what, it's the watering. It's the watering. So he comes in and he quotes me $1,500 for my front yard. Now, I don't have a big property. It's like a quarter acre. That's all it is, right? So 0.25 just for the front yard. 1,500. I'm like, I'm not paying that. That's ridiculous. So what does he do next? he points out the fact that I have a garden in the back, and he asked me how am I watering that garden. I'm like, well, we go in, once a day and we water. He's like, I understand you didn't want to get your backyard done. How about I just quote the entire property? That way you don't have to do that, do the watering and all this. So he's building this value in my head, and I'm already seeing, I don't have to water my garden anymore. And he came back with a quote of 4,500. I didn't even blink. I said, let's do it. Because the value to me of having the entire property done was way higher than the 1,500.
But you wouldn't spend 1,500 when you stoked your check for 4,500 and didn't think twice about it.
Because it made sense,
Yeah,
and there are people.
1,500 was for your neighbors.
Say again.
The 1,500 was for your neighbors. The 4,500 was for you.
Exactly.
I love that. That's a great story, and that's a big upsell right there. Right? That's a great way of adding value. I think
sometimes.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. But I think for a lot of us, the initial reaction is, okay, 1,500 is too much. How does 1,200 sound?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's what I was going to say.
Don't go there. Just throw more in and charge more.
Absolutely. Price isn't real. Tiffany sells a paper clip for $3,000, one paper clip. I wouldn't buy it, but I'm not their customer. So
this kind of reminds me of Carrie Knight, and I know that Olu, you work with Carrie some too, and
absolutely.
She talks about putting programs together to get high frequency recurring customers, and she'll never discount. She calls it the D word. It's like, my price is what the price is. I'll throw more stuff in. I'll clean your refrigerator and your oven, and deep clean something, and she'll add more stuff, but she'll never come down on the price.
Yeah, on that same topic with Carrie Knight with her program, I mean, I went from a whole bunch of monthly customers and following her system, bringing them to bi-weekly. I think I have about 20, if that, monthly customers left because of that. It's all about the value, adding that value.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great system. I wish she was around more. We could get hold of her.
Yeah.
She's just like, she's busy. She's working. She's like, I'm working.
Absolutely.
She's working. I think she's rolling up some Airbnbs the last I saw.
Nice.
Yeah. Very cool. All right.
Let's Sunshine State. So
I'm going to grab up my next question here, I think. So one thing is we're all on the same page. We all agree. Let's be adding in some value, and a great way to increase profits. I like this question. So how do you define value?
Man, I don't know. I don't know a definition. That's a question that I never thought about, and I wouldn't even, I don't know. I guess to the story that I just said, something that enhances my life or takes away something that I don't want to do. So I guess that's value right there. Yeah. But I'm looking at it from the service side. Maybe there's another definition that fits it better, but anything that enhances my life or gives me my time back, because time is very important to me. Time and freedom.
I think you're hitting on it right there, in our businesses as well, right? We want things that are going to enhance our lives as customers. We want things that are going to enhance our lives, that are going to give us back our freedom, our time, that are going to make our lives easier. They're going to take away the stress, they're going to improve our lives when we're thinking about value, right? You're giving me something that's going to make things better. Mm-hmm. And all right. So
you guys fix some pain point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Fixing a pain point. Awesome. Yeah. Anything else about that, Tom, that we should be thinking about with value? I'm thinking that especially in our industry. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Webster says it's the importance, worth, or usefulness of something.
Importance, use, or worth. Yeah.
And that's all perception, because in the context of what we're doing, the prospect, the person that you're trying to sell something to or provide service to, or the customer that you're trying to keep happy, how much worth, importance, usefulness do they see in the service that you're offering? Mm-hmm. And back to your earlier point, sometimes if you offer them more than what you initially offered at a higher price point, there's a lot more perceived value.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
And Liz, I've heard you say this before in foundations. This has come up before. A lot of times, if you've got an unhappy customer, you need to charge them more. Throw a bunch of stuff more into the service and charge them more. And you can take somebody that's unhappy and make them happy.
Yeah, I would say more often you need to increase service versus decrease service, or versus decreasing the price. That is rarely the answer. But it's funny because how, like when the irrigation guy first told you about the price, the $1,500 bucks, you thought you wanted a cheaper price.
100%. That was my initial thought. I'm like, this is expensive.
Yes. I'm not spending that. I need a cheaper price, which is so, I love that because that's what our customers think. I need a cheaper price. It's not the truth. That's not, they don't know. Anytime we are unhappy, we don't know what it is, we default to money. If I'm not happy in my job, I just need more money. You pay me more, I'll be happy in my job. How true is that?
It keeps you happy for this long, and
That's
then
right.
you're back to that same cycle.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing. Yeah. All right. So I love this next question. I think it can, I think it sounds like a simple question, but then it cannot be too. So do you agree that the value your service has in the marketplace is what determines the price that you're able to charge?
Yes and no. So at least with our industry, if somebody doesn't know you from another company, we're viewed as a commodity, right? So if this cleaning is $100, well, maybe the other person is going to be cheaper. I can get it for cheaper, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So your value does command some kind of price, but at the same time, it's only what the market will bear, because you can give all the perceived value you want, but somebody in a 1,000 square foot home, I can't charge them $10,000. Right. Or maybe I can't because my limited belief. Maybe somebody out there is doing it. If you are, please DM me.
And me, do it right here, please.
So it's what the market will bear. And there's definitely different customers at different levels. I remember when we first started out, I called them the Craigslist customers, the Groupon and all that. Those were our customers. And our pride. Yeah. Right?
I don't need to be reminded.
We raised our rates significantly, and the quality and caliber of customer changed as well. And it came from, fighting for better prices to, okay, I just want the service done. I don't want to think about it. So there's different customers, but it's all about what the market will bear. So I do think the value proposition does add to it, but it's not, you're not going to be able to sell a $20,000 cleaning in a 2,000 square foot home.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think you might be able to sell that $20,000 cleaning to the right person that really, if you're able to hit on that, right?
Well, it's all about pain point. Yeah.
Obviously, if they don't have the money, you can't. But I do think that the value is a huge, huge chunk of that. But on the next to that is they have to know what the value is, because many people think, just like you said, commodity. Cleaning is cleaning is cleaning is cleaning. So why should I pay your company $55, $65 an hour? Susie Q over here, she told me that she'll clean my house for $20 an hour. And you know what? She does all this extra stuff. I can ask her to go and sweep my back porch and pull a couple of weeds, and she'll even start dinner for me.
Yeah. Until she leaves the candle on and burns down the house or scratches a very expensive thing, then Susie's gone.
Bye-bye.
But the additional value, perceived value, needs to be there. Nobody wants to be ripped off.
Absolutely.
It's the fear of loss. It's kind of like, if $10 falls out of your pocket, there's a lot of people that will, spend an hour walking around the grocery store looking for that $10 because they don't want to, the fear of loss. So it wasn't like $1,500 wasn't the big deal. It was like you didn't think it was worth $1,500. But when he threw in the backyard. It's like, you mean I don't have to get out there and do this mess I'm doing in the garden every day?
And let me tell you, my tomatoes are huge, Tom. Huge tomatoes.
There you go.
Yeah. I actually have to take back my statement in terms of, market will bear. I stick by that, but you can sell a $20,000 cleaning because I know somebody who has in a small place. It's all about what the pain point is, right? Because one of my friends I was telling you about, Liz, he works for 24 Trauma. And I mean, their cleanings are billed out to insurance companies. And they're sometimes, I mean, for something very tragic, it would be in the 20,000s easily. So.
Yeah. Big money, huh?
And under the circumstances, it's like, here's my wallet, just take whatever you want. We just,
however much I have, you can have it all. Just
that pain is greater than the money that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, way to bring down the show there.
Well, no, I just wanted to, correct myself before somebody says, well, you can,
I know somebody that has too. Yeah. All right. So how about you? Like, what are some of the things that you do to increase the value of your business or the perception of, the value in your business? Like, personally, what do you do?
You want me to go down my entire list?
Oh, we got
I got a whole list. I went through and I spoke to my wife too, and my manager. I'm like, what are some things that we're doing? Just so I can make sure I talk about it, because I hate getting off of these calls or finish speaking. I'm like, I should have told them about this. I should have told them about this, So I actually made a list, and I didn't make it all crazy. I didn't put every single thing because we can go on forever. But organic, cost reduction, and acquisition. On the organic side, I'll kind of start from the bottom and work my way to the top. The first thing we think about is price increase. Right. A lot of people are just too afraid to do price increases. And I get it. You do lose customers. And I know every time we did 3 price increases in 1 quarter. So, yeah. And one of the
same customer, the same.
No, not to the same. So actually, one customer got a price increase twice. Yes. And one of our letters, I forget who told me this, was like Nina or somebody was saying this in a joking way. And I wrote, we have good news for you. We're raising your rates. Oh, no, we have good news for you. We're able to come clean next week. But because of raising costs, we have to raise our rates. And somebody replied, well, so one person replied, how is this good news? The rest were fine with it, so.
Because we're still coming.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have your house clean.
Yeah. It wasn't a crazy amount of people, but we do raise our rates from time to time. It's important that we look at that. We've been on May Central since September now, but I think after a year, we're going to be able to see better, like, historical information, which is what I'm waiting for, so we can know exactly, okay, now it's time. Let's get in that rhythm. Let's just make it, normal. So referral programs. This was brought to my attention by my wife the other day. So we had a referral program, and the way we structure it, some people have like $50. We'll give you, $50. The way we structure it is whatever our cost per acquisition is, we'll give that to you in cleaning credit, or we'll give you a lesser value in like a Visa gift card. So if it costs us $350 to get one new recurring customer on Google, well, why not give it to my customer, right? So some people are like, oh, $350 in credit, but it doesn't cost you $350. No. So now your cost per acquisition is way better, and you have a better lead, from a friend.
Yeah.
What happens is, though, sometimes when you lose one, you lose both, but not all the time. And my wife brought it up to me because when we put out that referral program, we had 8 referrals, 8 people that became recurring customers in 1 week. And then over time, it just kind of died off a little bit. And she brought it up. She's like, did you know this customer didn't know we had a referral program? So we weren't doing a good job at making sure we're keeping up
the message alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had it going out every 6 months for a while, but I felt like I was training them to forget about it, So that's another one. Expanding geographically. A lot of people don't think about this as well. Sometimes your market you can't grow in that market anymore. So you got to move up or move around a little bit. So we started targeting New Hampshire. I don't know what happened, but now we're like a 50-50 split. We're in both states. So, which is pretty cool. So selling after the sale. The number one thing somebody wants to do after they buy is buy again. And if we would just ask, we would get more sales. So it's kind of like the whole, would you like fries with that? So we put that in the end of our script, and he actually says, would you like fries with that? So they know whatever the special of the month is, like if we're doing extra ovens, extra windows, extra whatever it is to sell those, improving your sales system to increase your closing rate. And last but not least, marketing. I hear people say that they've grown their company to X amount without marketing. And I understand that you can grow without marketing to whatever the number might be in your market. Yeah. Sometimes it's 200,000, sometimes it's 1 million, sometimes it's 1.5. But over time, you can't outmarket your attrition unless you have a crazy referral network. So
yeah,
that's the organic side. I'll let you ask questions, and we'll go back to the others. So
those are really good. I like all of them. Let's see. They always come back to me. Always. Yeah, Katerina. I got it. So Katerina says that she finds that she sends people over to, when they want a lower price, that she sends them a cheaper option to like Thumbtack, Care.com, etc. They go there and then they're like, okay, never mind. Now I understand why the price is more. And they always come back. Yeah. People don't really value their money as much as they think they do. Mm-hmm. So, but some people really do. Some people, it really is Melinda says that she's taking notes. Yeah. Hey, Melinda, long time no see. But sometimes they really do. So here's an example. We have a question in our company. If somebody wants like a single clean done, or if they want like for whatever reason, just they live in their house, they just want it clean, mother-in-laws come in, whatever, or they're moving. We ask them, do you care more about the quality or do you care more about the price?
Oh,
and
I love
then
that.
The majority of the time they'll say, oh, I care more about the price.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, great. So what's the price that you would like to spend? And we will stick that. And even if we can't get the quality where you initially liked, we'll make sure that we don't go over that price. Then they say, oh, but I want all of the work done. Oh, so the quality is more important than the price? Well, I do care about the price though. Okay, well, let's just figure out what you want to have done. And then we'll make sure we can get you the best price possible and get all of the work done. Because what you don't want to have happen is you don't want to hire a company and tell them that you don't want to spend the amount of money that it's actually going to cost to get your house clean.
Absolutely.
And that happens. If you think my price is too high, but this is how much it really costs to get your house clean, you go somewhere else, you will pay that amount of money, but you won't get all the work done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is how much it costs.
It went back to what you said earlier about it making the pain go away.
Yes.
It's like having a headache, and I'm just only want to buy half an aspirin. Well, that's really not going to make my pain go away. I'll pay whatever I need to pay to get 2 aspirin to make my
That's a good one, Tom. I like that one. I've never heard you use that one before, but that is good.
I like that.
Me too. I'm going to be using that one moving forward. Olu, what was the third thing on your list?
It was expanding geographically.
Oh, yeah. So I want to talk about expanding geographically because that one is a tricky one. We talk about that in a lot of different ways. And when you're expanding geographically, are you expanding, tell us about that. How is that working?
Absolutely.
One office, 2 offices?
So right now we have 1 office, and we were contemplating getting another office. And so are you familiar with the forward operating base?
I don't think so.
The military would have like one key base. So let's say, for example, we just invaded Massachusetts. All right, we want to start a cleaning company in Massachusetts.
All right.
So we have our main office where it's going to be everything, like all the heavy equipment and all of this. Then we're going to have little cells that feeds these little offices. One thing that we've done in order to expand in other locations is we had a storage unit, right? A heated storage unit where we would have supplies because we don't have cars. Our team members only come to the office when they need to top up. So it allowed us to recruit people from those areas. So now let's say, for example, we wanted to move to Metro Boston. Well, we can hire people in Metro Boston if we had this little cell that we would just resupply from the main office, and the people there would just top up there. And we have like probably 10 people paying with cash or check, actually one cash and like 9 checks left. So we're eliminating that entirely. My goal is to make the company as remote as possible, to not have people having to come to an office for no reason. Yeah. I mean, the only reason I use my office is, one, I want a good presence whenever we're hiring. So my hiring manager can have like not meeting somebody in a Starbucks or wherever it is. So we want to look like a professional company. The other part is I struggle to work at home. So one space, one use for me. So. Yeah.
All right. I like that. I have never heard of that before. So I'm going to be remembering it. All right.
A couple of the keys to that I heard was making the payments thing go away. You want to be doing electronic payments.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to have somebody come into the office, drop off a check, or say, hey, can you make a deposit to the? It's such a headache. I mean, we got rid of keys too. Unfortunately,
I was getting ready to ask you, did you guys do keys at one time?
We did keys. Oh my goodness. It was like horrible. It was horrible. And somebody forgets a key and it's like, I have to drive back this way, or you know what, don't worry, we'll run out and bring you the keys. And then, it's chaos. It's unnecessary chaos.
Oh, lose a key. We've all been there.
So we lost a key once. Oh my goodness. We lost a key. This is back in 2015. We lost a key and a check together because we had these bags. So now if somebody found that, here's the key to your house and the address to your house. We call the customer. She's still
and guess what? Your checking account number too.
Oh, everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we call the customer, apologize, told her what happened, paid for locksmith to change the locks. She's still with us, by the way. She still uses us. So we put a policy after that. If we had keys, we'd make 2 copies of the keys. One for the office and one for the.
I remember doing that too.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, no more keys except for the commercial properties. We unfortunately haven't been able to find a way to do that.
And you can't make duplicates of those things.
Yeah, those fobs and everything. Yeah, the big old. Yeah, can't make duplicates of those.
All right.
No more residential keys.
All right, let me hit my next question here.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't. What time is it? Oh, time is flying. Okay.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. What are some things you do to increase? Oh, so we were talking about the difference between increasing value and also the perception of value. And do you think that there's a difference? And how do you think about that?
I think it's one of those beauties in the eyes of the beholder type questions, because you can say I'm increasing value by adding more things. Right, but that person doesn't see that as valuable unless it's something that they needed. So it's value in the eyes of what the customer needs. That's why it's important to understand that pain points. One of the things that we ask in our script, and I share this with you, Liz, if we could do 2 things, just 2 things to make your house happy. We were asking one thing, and you shared the 2 things, right? Yeah. So we were asking, what's one thing we could do to make you happy? You said 2 things. So now we have that, and we have it as our pain point. 2 things that can make you happy during this clean. So now we know this is what it is. And maybe it's cleaning them underneath the mats or making the beds. And then we say, well, why are these things important to you? Because now we understand that pain point. Why is the mat so important to you? Well, because, whatever the reason might be. Yeah. So it's understanding that pain point so you can actually build that value in to that customer. So now you know what you need to focus on.
Thing. Right? Because it's not always just that one thing. The pain point can spread to other things as well, right?
Absolutely.
So our question is a little bit different. Ours is, what are the 2 things you can't wait to not have to do again?
Yeah, now we have to do it. Right?
Yeah. So that's our question. And I want to know too, because I want to be able to see the connection. Like if they say showers and floors, all right, they really don't want to be scrubbing a lot. They don't want hard work, right? So I know that anything that's going to require a lot of physical labor, probably. And when we say, okay, is it because of the scrubbing? They're like, yes. Or I don't have time. They take so long for me to get my shower clean. It takes me an hour. All right. Now we know, super picky.
Yeah. I think it's important to ask that why.
Yeah.
Very true.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that's where sort of that perception comes into. And I really believe that perception is more important. If you don't know if you don't understand the perception, it's a fool's game. You're just wasting money. You're just putting stuff on that's not really going to have any impact at all.
So, this made me think of another story with me, because so I consider myself cheap, but maybe I'm not. I don't know. I always end up buying something cheaper. Not anymore, but I would buy something cheaper, and then my wife and I would laugh about it, and we say, "Isn't it better to pay a little bit more and get much more than pay a little bit less and get much less?" Because when I used to work for the consulting company, that was our closing line. So she uses it on me now. But it was 2017. We moved into our first house, and at this point, I have never purchased a television in my life. I don't watch much TV. If I do, I'm gonna watch something like I'm gonna binge it and I'm gonna be done because I feel really guilty. So she wanted a new TV because new house, and remember purchases, they come in threes. Now I got a new house, you got new furniture, new TV, and I would not buy this TV. So Mother's Day is rolling around. I see like this Walmart special, $300 for this TV, 55-inch. I'm literally cringing at the thought of spending $300 on a freaking TV. So I'm going to Walmart and I'm buying this. I'm giving it to her as a gift with like all this pain in my heart. Well, you fast forward, I love art. Every time I go to another country, I'll go to an art gallery, I'll collect something. Well, we had all these art pieces and we didn't have them framed because we were in an apartment. Well, it cost me $750 just to frame them. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Okay. But the TV to me had no value, so.
All right. There's another thing about value that is really, I love this story. I don't think I've told it here before. My mother-in-law lives on my property. She has a little house on our property. And one year we had a huge garage sale, both houses together. And my mother-in-law had a whole bunch, you reminded me of this. She had a whole bunch of art. She is currently, I think, 97 years old. And so this was a while ago, but she was elderly at that time. And her art was also elderly art, and it was local art. But she knew how much she had spent on it. And she had decided that with inflation, this art should be worth this amount of money. And art doesn't go down in price, it goes up. So at our garage sale, she had her cowboy picture out for $212. And she had her, all of her art for all of these prices that were crazy for garage sales. Nobody sees the value of that art at a garage sale, period.
Yes.
But the twist on the story was she didn't sell any of it. She didn't lower her price because that's how much they were worth. And because she didn't have room in her house, that she had been downsizing from her big home into her little house that lives on our property. She put them out in her carport, and all of these thousands of dollars worth of art rotted. She would rather the art rot than sell it for less money.
Oh, I get that.
Yeah. And she's still to this day, she's like, they didn't deserve it. They didn't appreciate it.
100%. No, you know what? I agree with her. I have a truck right now for sale, and people are offering me like $500 more, and I don't even reply because I'm like, yeah, if it doesn't sell, I'll just keep it.
I'd rather have it. So it's an interesting thing about value. We have a lot of emotion tied into value. It's not just a thought exercise. I think that's an important piece that sometimes as business owners, we're like, well, if we add this on, it only costs us this amount of money. And we look at the numbers and it makes sense because of this.
It's not an economic thing. It's not an economic decision. It's an emotional decision.
Absolutely.
Which is why it's so much trickier, right? If it was just an economic decision, it'd be so much simpler.
I think it should be easier because it's an emotional decision. Because we're emotional creatures. I mean, we can think logically, but at the end of the day, we typically defer to our emotions, So understanding that we should be able to behave that way in order to, but maybe it's not just
many emotions. And
I know.
We're so fluid. Oh my God. Like I feel hot just talking about it. All right. So my next question here is, so you, and actually, Tom, I want to know your answer to this too, because I don't know your answer about this either. So in your companies, like, and Tom, especially like with Made Central, I know you have done this. Like, how do you determine, and I swap this question around just a little bit, although, so I hope it doesn't throw you for a loop here. But how do you determine when to change your value prop, and how often, and like when you think about it, how do you think about it? What happens that makes you decide, I need a new value proposition here. I need to change up how people think about our company. I'm curious.
Olu, you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, I'll say this: I'm not that innovative. You know, people will think that I am. Sometimes I'm not that innovative, so I'm not always looking at like let's change this and let's do this. And I guess what has provoked change? Mainly not seeing growth that has provoked change. You know, inspiration and desperation usually makes you change. So I guess that it's usually when I'm inspired or desperate. So I come from a conference and I hear something, I'm like, this is awesome. Let me take it and try to make it better. So I'm inspired by that. Or I'm like, why are we not growing? What's going on? Let's get something, better in place. So inspiration and desperation. There's never a set timeline when I'm looking at it. There probably should be maybe a better system to that. But I just shoot from the hip with that.
So basically it's an outside factor. Something
happens. It's typically an outside factor. And I hate that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because I hate that. And I always tell my team, the only thing I promise you is change. But when it comes to cash flow, if it is working really well, let's not disrupt it too much. So that's the way I look at it.
I do love continuous improvement. Oh,
I get it.
To a fault sometimes, though. I like to improve things, but sometimes I do have the mindset of, listen, this is actually working, so I don't want to mess with it too much.
Yeah, I think I work more on like improving like my team more than like, okay, how do we increase the value proposition for clients? Which it's just, it's a kind of a dichotomy, because in reality, without the customers, nothing happens until, we get a sale. But
well, chicken egg.
Yeah. I focus a lot on my team though. So.
Yeah. How about you, Tom? What are your thoughts?
Well, we like this business model, the serve call model that looks at quality, and quality being defined as expectations and perception. So on the value side, it's really getting everybody in alignment on expectations. And if somebody is expecting service to be at some level, some lower level, for instance, and expecting it to be at a lower price point, understanding what those expectations are gives you an opportunity to shift them. You mentioned Made Central. We got a lot of feedback when we first started offering Made Central to the larger, house cleaning community, because we had a unique pricing model that was perceived to be expensive. But at the same time, we knew that if we could reestablish the expectation that, there's software can do a ton more for your business than what you currently assume that it can do. And if we can have the discussion, we will charge more, but you're going to get that back a bunch of times over. And that was an example of taking expectation and perception and putting it in the context of, here, let me shift your expectation to create more quality. And people who are using Made Central actually see, I don't want to say that they're excited about spending more money, but, people are certainly willing to do it because they realize they have more money in the bank at the end of the month doing that than what they would with their next best alternative. And we wouldn't be able to do it if we didn't charge what we charge, because it costs a lot to do what we do. And
so,
put it in the house.
I didn't think you were going to use that example, Tom. I like that you used that example. I thought you were going to use your more recent example of how you you sort of shifted because you recognize the idea of, the thing that's biggest problem, going back to pain point, is people don't love their companies and they don't want to not love their software. They don't want one more thing that they don't love. And your thing was, if they understand the software, they're going to love their company. And I love that.
Yeah, that was an epiphany for the longest time, Olu. I thought our charge was to build this black box that would spit money out. And it's like, if you just take this and plug it in your business, you're going to be more profitable. Don't worry about what you're paying for. You're going to be more profitable. Yeah. And for a lot of people, you're the art example. Yeah, I want to make money. That's kind of, that's a consideration, but it's not all about the money. It's about loving their business and making the stress and the drama go away. In some regards, being able to apply their own creativity and twist to it. I think of it as everybody wants to paint their own masterpiece, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, it's so much, making money is necessary, as they say, but it's not sufficient.
Yeah, I like that saying.
I know, I do too.
Yeah.
And I loved when you made that, when you decided, you know what, this is what people really, really want. This is where the pain is. This is what I'm going to. You actually, that was the impetus for the Made Central conferences, and right, you got three events, and really, the people that I'm talking to are so much happier. They are
absolutely.
So I'm like, I love that,
and we're happier. I mean, it's hard not to like happy, right?
It is, yeah. And when people are happy, it's it's contagious for sure.
So we're gonna make you profitable. We're all about being profitable, but we're going to be profitable in the context of loving your business too.
Yes, I love that. Helping them to be their hero as well.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I love that too. All right. So my next question here is, who do you consider your competitors, and how do you consider them?
So the first time we shopped our competitors in years was a few months ago, because we were getting too many yeses. I'm like, and then I kept on hearing, you guys are cheap. And I'm like, no, you buy. Yeah, like what's going on? So we started shopping our competitors. Who are our competitors? Man, I would have to ask Christina who she shopped.
I don't know if you saw our show last week, but Greg Shepard was on, and he was like playing around with his quoting tool live, and he saw what he was charging, and he was like, "Oh God, I need to be charging more." I mean, by the time we were done, there was like 3 things he found. He had like a broken link to his like lead marketing piece. It was like we sent him a bill afterwards.
Sometimes you're working on other things that you're not even thinking about these, right? And you get so far detached over time. So that's very easy to do.
He was like desperate to get off of Smart Business Moves. He's like,
I need to work on this now.
Raise my prices now. Like, what, 7 more minutes? Okay.
You never want to hear that you're cheaper than your competitor.
I know, absolutely not. And then so it's actually a franchise too. So Molly Maids, those Molly Maids that they said that we were cheaper than, and I'm like, no, we can't have that. This won't do. Who else? We shopped one person I won't name.
So when
do we know them? Initials?
No initials. So what I'm hearing though is that when you think about your competitors, and the thing that you think about is price. That's how you determine who your competitors are. That's what I just heard.
I hate to say that I don't focus on my competitors, because it sounds arrogant, because I think you can learn from your competitors. I mean, I've had lunch with my competitors before, and we've shared numbers before.
I'm not giving any names, because now everybody's gonna know.
I'll say I've had lunch with Ryan, and we that's not the one I shopped though. I already knew his prices. And we were sharing numbers, just because every pocket in this country tends to have like their own thing. For example, you go to certain places, you can scale rapidly with with Facebook before you dump a dime into your marketing. And some places it's like they were waiting for you to open another cleaning company. And in the Northeast, it's not viewed like that. It's viewed as a luxury. And it's not like, I have a cleaning service because I need this, right? So I'm like, what is our industry norm? So I try to connect with people that I meet through industry events that are from around here to kind of get those norms that are more in our area. But I don't focus too much on what they're doing. I do want to know the numbers so I can track that, because I think that's very important to manage the company by. So not in terms of like, hey, what are they doing? What are they sending out? Or, oh, I see them driving down the street. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'll do it if it came down to it. But I'd rather focus on my team internally. So.
All right. So I'm thinking that you have a couple more things on your list there that you wanted to talk about. And at least one was about that. Why don't you share a little bit?
Yeah. So the 3 principles of growth that I was sharing was, what do we have left? Oh, wow. I'll go fast. Organic, cost reduction, and acquisition. We talked about the organic growth. One thing I didn't mention on the organic growth is preferred days. We just rolled this out. We've noticed that every Monday and Tuesday were super weak. And then on Fridays, people just always wanted the Thursday and Friday slots. Well, now we have a preferred time slot. So it's an extra $25, and we're evaluating it in real time to see what we're going to charge. If you want a Friday appointment, it's going to be X amount on a recurring basis. It's going to be way more. We could say, hey, Monday and Tuesday is this price, so some people will pay it. If they pay it, cool. We have more profits, right? More revenue coming in. And if they don't take it, well, those Mondays and Tuesdays that are typically weak, we can fill those up and make sure that our team is optimized across the board, and not just like a week Monday and then Friday. It's like, oh my God, like this day is never going to end. Right. So we're trying to really spread the love a little bit. So that's
that balanced schedule is so nice.
Yeah, I know.
To do something like this, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not going to get this exactly right, but you used to do something with apartments where you gave a price, but then you, instead of increasing for the popular day, didn't you say, but I can get you a discount on Tuesdays? Didn't you do something like that? Wasn't that you, Tom?
I thought you were talking for
Confused. I almost answered. I'm like, I think this is for Tom.
So Olu, remember earlier when he said he was going to go downstairs and get popcorn?
I was like,
He just has a picture of him in front of the camera, just letting Tom.
Yeah, we've done some things with, discount days, and like if you lived in a particular community, we called it crowd cleaning.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
And if you get everybody, and we actually had a website, crowdcleaning.com, and we kind of played around with it. And I it's a viable idea if it's executed well. But I have this like affliction that I'll wind up doing 15 things at once, and some of them really need focus in order to work. I think it could work in a big way. I'd be glad to give you a little more details about what we learned from that if you'd want to pursue it. But we had like a marketing program that went after like big, buildings and apartment communities and so forth. And
if you would share that with me, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
There's some things that we do in Made Central that can make it easier to execute that too.
Yes, please. That's awesome. I love it. I wrote it down, crowd cleaning. So
yeah.
Now you're gonna get like 10 emails from me after this. Hey Tom, just waiting on that crowd cleaning.
Hey, don't forget. All right. What else did you have?
Yeah, so for cost reduction, we don't do this as often as we should, but we do try to do it. And again, it's like when we see the prices getting way ridiculous. So shopping our suppliers, shopping your insurance rates. I've had people tell me, hey, you're using the Hartford, I can't even beat that price. So I accepted that 2 years ago, and I still haven't shopped it. But that's one company I got to shop because those rates are getting ridiculous. Decreasing overhead through automations, right? So when I talk about overhead, I'm not talking about necessarily just any overhead expense. Overhead walks on two legs. So what can be automated in your company that can be done, from software. One of the things that we were doing was last year we were having the office was open on Saturdays, and I got this idea from Don Williams. We noticed that a lot of leads were coming in on Saturdays, and comes Monday, well, they're not even answering their phones, and we couldn't get them. So we started opening on Saturdays. It cost us more money, but we were able to book those cleanings. Well, what's one way you can solve that? Online booking, right? The main issue that I have with online booking is it's hard to build value. It's hard to build value there, and you're just a commodity. There's ways you can do it, but it's definitely a challenge. But it works if somebody can book on a Saturday and we have one extra booking on the books. Let's go. Does outsourcing make sense? You know, maybe you're outsourcing some of your tasks. I'm not talking about what is it called? The IC model.
Yeah.
But let's
contractor, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like the cleaning aspect because I really want to be able to control that aspect. But if you hire a VA company to handle your phones, right? You don't have to pay any kind of payroll taxes. You don't have to pay any of that. You just pay the VA service. So a $45,000 employee costs me $50,000, $51,000 with everything fully loaded, right? So there's savings in there. Monthly expense trimming. If you guys know me, I love profit first, and I follow it religiously. It's like literally my company. We went 3 years. I couldn't even freaking pay myself. It was miserable. And we followed profit first, and it was like overnight. I'm like, oh, there is money. Like we can save money. But one of the things that he talks about is trimming your expenses, printing out your your PDF that the bank gives you at the end of the month. I forget what it's called. Statements.
Statement.
And going through what don't you need. Just be careful with that because I've removed some things that I thought I didn't need, and they were automation pieces. And I'm like, wait, let's put this back. Mm-hmm. You got to really observe how one part of the system works with another before you start taking away things.
Okay, guess what? We have 2 minutes.
I'll say I'm on my last one.
Idea.
I'm on my last one.
Right.
Acquisitions. I want to talk about this, but I want to make it very clear to anybody watching this. I have not done any acquisitions myself. So I'm not going to talk about it extensively. I'm just going to say what I understand. I've taken the courses, but nothing substitutes actually doing. So the baby boomer generation is said to be one of America's richest generations and own the most businesses. Well, a lot of people are retiring right now, and their kids don't want to take over their business because they sent their kids to prestigious schools, and their kids are like, I don't want to run a cleaning company. I don't want to, be a contractor, whatever it is. So there's opportunity there. There's opportunity to somebody that wants to see their legacy maintained. So what I would recommend everyone do, and we've done this, and although we haven't had any acquisitions, but we're building relationships with some of our competitors, send out a letter. Send out a letter to all your competitors, just introducing yourself, saying, hey, how you doing? I'm this person, and I'm looking to do this in the long term, looking to acquire some companies. I'd like to purchase your company, or just have a conversation going. And they might say, I don't want to sell my company. You know what? Don't worry about it. If you don't want to sell your company, just meet for lunch. And you position yourself down the road when they're thinking about retiring. Hey, this person that I've maintained this relationship with, I'm ready to transition. Maybe this is a good time to talk to him versus now you get off-market deals, right? So acquisition is a great part of building, and that's how these big companies actually build. It's through acquisition. It's not through organic growth. So
at any point in time, 10% of the businesses out there are ready to sell. You just got to catch them at the right time.
Absolutely.
And if it's not the right time, then it'll be the right time sometime, and you want to be top of mind. Got one quick question here about conferences, and all kinds of stuff just happened here.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
Oh, thank you.
We got. Where did?
What happened? I'm adding him back.
Here we go.
You guys kicked me out.
I'm
just kidding.
We were so afraid.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Recommendation for lock boxes for commercial. Dom's telling us he gets 2 keys for commercial. That's good advice.
Nice.
And who's our buddy at Filthy Bucket? What's her name?
Whitney.
Yes. Wants to know about conferences that you recommend.
So I say any industry conferences are great ones, and because it's not just about the what you're learning, it's about the who you're meeting.
Yeah.
So a lot of people focus so much on, I'm going to go to this conference and I'm going to sit down in every class. I can tell you, I skip a lot of classes when I go to conferences. I'll probably I got to find 3 things that I'm going to take away and do. So once I find those 3 things that I'm going to execute on, I'll skip like every class because I don't want to get overloaded, but I'll make those connections. So there's a lot of great conferences out there.
Yes, totally true. And
Yeah.
everybody who goes to conferences knows that you're going to get some good ideas, but it's the people.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is Artsy, ISSA. You know, that's the big one. You're going to meet so many people, and that's going to open doors to, you're going to hear about other conferences. You're going to be like, oh, let me try this one out. And
yeah,
it's the who. It's really the who.
And different opportunities. You just so many things.
Yeah.
What you got here, Tom?
We have a calendar for smart business moves, and Victoria's dropped the link in chat, but this is what it looks like. And if you want to see what's coming up in smart business moves and future dates, you can see it here, and you can click on follow the calendar, and it'll actually update your calendar with what's going on smart business moves. So you don't have to worry about ever forgetting when to get ready for smart business moves.
It looks like we have your buddy Dom coming in here real soon.
Yeah,
we do. I think he's queued up. We've got some other folks lined up here for the next few weeks. Olu, this was awesome.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I love you make it easy to love smart business moves.
Yeah, you really do. You make it super easy. All right, thanks, y'all.
All right, guys.
Everybody.
Enjoy your popcorn and beer.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.